Hey everybody. All right, so we're chilling out. Hope everybody's doing well. Gotta have a little technical difficulty there, of course, right? But yeah, today is just something that's going to be a little different. Thinking about doing a new show, which is going to be called No Cap, and I'm playing that out. And No Cap is just basically, for those who don't know the gaming term or just the term in general, means no lie, or that's cap, which is that's a lie. We like to keep it real over here, and there's been like one thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's just kind of been on my mind. And this show is going to be, it's not going to be like a long, it will become more of a thing if you guys like this kind of thing and the content. And most importantly, I just want to like kind of change up the content a little bit and start doing some things that are more community based and just kind of getting to know everybody, finding out what people think about gaming, Hearthstone, all kinds of different things. But just gonna start off with one of the things that really been just kind of been on my mind, and it's that, you ever been to, like, when you go to into like some videos and stuff, and you're on YouTube, right? And you're kind of just like hanging out and you're browsing around and everything, and you know, we're all gamers and stuff, right? So you browse around YouTube and you see like just different stuff, you know, like for all the games you see like people who are like, you know, like kind of like crazy, like that, you know, faces and all this stuff. And it's just like it wears you out sometimes when you're like, you know, you're just kind of, we're getting desensitized, guys, right? You have like all of the things, the clickbait titles, the 75% win rate. Like, we're gonna do search here for Hearthstone. I'm just gonna like look at some things and just kind of see. Oh, there we go. Hearthstone, VengaDragon comes up on under Hearthstone, which is pretty cool. Cthulhu is back, 23 hours ago. And the Tavern Brawl. That's not so bad. This is another thing, but there's just lots of YouTube in general is a lot about kind of this semi clickbait that exists, right? Like it just doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like, you get all of this like sort of stuff, and I just kind of feel a little bit taken back by that. So I just want to find out how you guys feel about it and what your thoughts are on like those like big win rate things. And the No Cap show is going to be like a thing where you guys can ask me questions. So I'm asking that question of you, like, what do you think of those thumbnails that like say something like 73% win rate, 86, 90% win rate? Well, I have the answer for you on what I think about it, and I'll just like share that with you because it was a question that I received from you guys earlier, and it's just kind of something that's been on my mind. About it. So the deal with like the 86% win rate decks and things like that, well, firstly, there's no such thing, because if you go to a site like, say, Hearthstone Replay or whatever it may be, right? You go there and you're like chilling and you check it out, you look at the stats, you like see there are some decks that are pretty much in the 60s. There are some like 60.9s, like sometimes maybe 61.8. So like we'll take a look now. We'll go to HearthstoneReplay.net, which pretty much is like the current source for everything Hearthstone. I mean, if you want statistics, what better place than this site to check that out, you know? So let's go check that out on like what's going on in the meta right now as far as that's concerned, because it can be a little bit, you know, a little bit daunting. So here's my Mets deal there. That's but we'll bring up like the most recent decks, right? Like currently right now, Anaconda Druid, and this is based on, you can choose over here like the region. You don't really see that right there, but I'll bring it over so you can see it. But here you could choose your region, and let's choose Diamond through Legend, right? That's what is toggled. I just feel like it's a good thing because there's a lot of players that are in that base. The majority of players are in Diamond through Legend, I believe. At least the ones that check out YouTube and stuff. And sometimes there are Platinum players and things, and there's nothing wrong with being in any of these different levels. But we could look at this as a whole. Right now, you have Anaconda Druid, right? Which has a 65% win rate. 65.1%. Well, as you can see here, the number of games is 240, which in the grand scheme of things is still pretty low. That's pretty low. That's something that really doesn't say a whole lot. 240 games though is still a lot more than some of the thumbnails that you'll see on YouTube or whatever, maybe with 93% win rate and things like that. And I think it's really dangerous for the game because and also dangerous for people's, like, just in general, their channels and things, because you're like beating your opponents down all the time. Bang, 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 you know, like going like full steam ahead all the time, that you're just beating your opponents into the ground. So my question is if that were the case, like let's say though that you did have this 80% win rate, like why aren't you at rank like 1 legend with an 80% win rate? Because it borders on clickbait, and it just starts to get like a little bit kind of crazy and actually kind of annoying, right? But on Hearthstone Replay, we can select the minimum number of games, and the data I'll take from at least 1,000 games, right? So 1,000 is pretty good because it will include mostly a lot of very good players, 1,000 games. But here you go. Here's Secret Paladin, which in the Diamond through Legend ranks is 19,000 games, and it's 60.4 win rate, which is pretty good, right? That's like not even pretty good. That's pretty phenomenal. So generally you will see the highest type of win rates that are in the game are really like in the 60s. I've never seen anything that had a huge sample size that was in the 70s. I think the highest I've ever seen is like 66.8, which was Demon Hunter when it first came out, because everybody was playing it and it just had like lots of big win rates and things. But even that was like a smaller sample size than what I would consider would qualify. So Secret Paladin is definitely a thing. This is just incredible. So now I'm gonna go to the meta report here. Also, I have the premium channel on this Hearthstone Replay, so I don't consider it a lot of money for what you get. But Secret Paladin here, it says here it's a 56.98, because that includes many of the different variations of this deck where people don't run all the same cards. It's like tech cards and things. And then that's a tier 1 deck. And then second is Elemental Shaman, which is a 55.6. So let's just go back to the decks, and you'll see that Elemental Shaman, if we select over on the left side, we select Shaman, there's one that is a 60% win rate with 790 games. But if you look at this one here, the second one down, it's a 59% win rate with 8,600 games. Another one below that right here with a 58% win rate and it has 28,000 games. So that's a real sample size. So these decks are top tier decks, is Elemental Shaman and also Secret Paladin. So let's look at the meta, right? And we'll just check it out again. And you see the tier list here is Secret Paladin and Elemental Shaman. And then you have below that Aggro Druid, which is really a really powerful deck. But it only shows you that these top two decks, the Secret Paladin and the Elemental Shaman, are just so powerful. They're incredibly strong. And these statistics also, though, include players that aren't awesome and some players that aren't at all trying hard, or maybe trying out like different tech cards and things to try and counter what's in the meta. There's still a little bit of experimentation that goes involved in this, but as you see, that it's pretty accurate because the sample size is everything, all of the decks. So it's, when you have over on this left side here, it says on the right side, it has view the most popular decks, and so there's many different variations of it. I think this is the most one. So similar decks here, you can check. There's 2. So let's go take a look at Elemental Shaman, which we'll look at view the most popular deck, and we go to similar. There's tons of different ones. Each one of these has 7,200 games or whatever. So I would like to make a motion, right? That if you're going to use a title that includes a win rate in it, why not just use the one here? Why not just go into Hearthstone Replay as a content creator and just put in, hey, 59.3%, 7,200 games, right? That's a real deck. That's like a real thing. So it brings me to my next topic, and the next topic is net decking, right? We talk about net decking, and there is like a bit of a taboo and I believe that's like more of a taboo for when a player is new to the game, that they're like, oh, net decking is bad, you know what I mean? Oh, you just copy a deck from the internet and just go and play it. Well, it kind of ties into what I was saying about the fact that there's a finite number of cards, right, in Hearthstone, and the sample size is something that matters as well. It's kind of somewhat related, but your sample size is another. There's lots of different combos, but to get the highest percent win rate deck, you should use what are the most effective cards, right? If you want a high win rate deck, then use the cards that synergize best with the deck itself. And so therefore there's not many different combinations. There's only 30 cards that you can use, and generally those 30 cards, some are legendary, so you can only run one of those. But like you just say that maybe there's 15 to 20 different cards that you could use in any deck, because there's some that are staples. Like if you look at the Elemental Shaman as an example, like we'll go back to the Elemental Shaman. What's up, Gus? How you doing? Good to see you. We're just doing a little chatting stream. If you want to ask any questions, just talking about things. But welcome to the stream. Anyway, here you have like the deal here where you see like the similar decks that are out there. So these different ones, like I said before, they have similar win rates, some way better than others, like a 60% here. But there's one thing that they all have in common. If you look at like the changes, right? The highest win rate decks have the least amount of changes in this particular example. And you see like Elemental Shaman has, it's like 2 cards that you can sub in or sub out, right? So you look at this, and then there's similar decks. That's where I got this information from. So, and then you can see that there are certain core cards, right? Like every single Elemental Shaman is going to run Kindling because it makes sense. You probably want to run the Wailing Vapor because that's a core card in that. If you're playing the weapon variation, Cage Match Custodian is just a high win rate card. Arid Stormer is a great card because of the Wind Fury, of course. Gyre Worm is another great card. You have to run Primal Dungeoneer, and that's a good elemental. You could run maybe 1 or 2 of those. Granite Forgeburn is a new card that got some attention after the nerf of this card. You started to see this card played more. But the point that I'm driving at here is with this is that there's only so many variations of this deck. So when people say that net decking is a bad thing because you just copy and paste something, well, it's not, because there just are so many variations that are different that make sense with higher win rates. If you want to play for fun factor and stuff like that, then net decking may not be your thing. But if you want to win and have some fun, there is absolutely nothing wrong with net decking, and that's what I'm trying to say. So if you feel there is, that's okay too. I mean, I don't mind the opinion. I'm just sharing my opinion. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it, and that's cool. But that is not, it's not something to get mad at players over and stuff. And I think that, like, as a whole, gaming communities and thing, it just needs to be a little bit less salty. We don't have to be so hard on each other. It's good to compete, and you want to compete in the game. You want to have fun, and you want to destroy your opponent. The object is to beat them, and you know, there is an element of like honing somebody, which is kind of cool. You can do that too, and you can do all these things that are within the realm of the game. But if you start like insulting someone personally outside the game because of their views and stuff, you know, that's not necessarily the greatest thing. I mean, it's just a difference in opinion. I don't mind people who net deck, and that's one of the things. So maybe we check chat and just see if there's any activity or any questions in chat. And then I see Gus Buzzer says here, it says people can play the same deck, but their playstyle will probably be different anyway. I think so net decking is fine. That's true. Like, I'll give you a good example of that. And one of the examples I use is that I don't really like playing aggro. Even though aggro I think is a fair thing in the meta, of course, right? Because you need aggro, you need mid-range, and you need control. So you have 3 different archetypes. I just prefer playing a control type, maybe a mid-range that sways a little more towards the control meta, and I like those 2 types of deck. So I could play Warlock a lot better when it's a control deck, and Warrior when it's a control deck, than when it's a new aggro type deck, and these like really super burn decks and things. Mage is not necessarily something, even though Mage is a control deck, it's just like my playstyle doesn't really work for Mage as much right now. I haven't really practiced it as much. So that is where we stand. Well, hey, there's Steven. Steve Wake. How you doing, Steve? He says evening. Good evening to you. We're talking about just net decking in general. This is called No Cap. This is something that I want to add to my channel, which is like a community thing. You can ask me questions. We can talk about things in the meta. One of the things that we're talking about right now, if you hadn't been here, was net decking and how play styles. One of the comments in chat was about play styles, and the play style is really we can make or break how you play decks and whether you net deck and everything like that. In other words, not everybody there. I've said this before. I said there's two types of players in Hearthstone, and there's more than two types of players, but you have your pilots and you have your creators. So there's two different players, right? Number one, pilots. Number two, your creators, right? So what's the difference between a pilot and a creator? Well, a pilot is somebody that will go on to whatever video it may be. It could be a YouTube video, or it could be, they could go to Hearthstone Replay or whatever. And then they decide, hey, I'm going to pilot this deck. I see that the Elemental Shaman is a 60% win rate, a good sample size on HS Replay. It feels like something that I could pilot and I could take to the next level, and I want to do that. They might look at it, maybe they'll find a different variation that suits their playstyle. And so it goes back to that statement that playstyle is different for everybody, so everyone plays decks differently. But if you could see a deck, if you're any type of player, especially if you're a pilot, you could just play the game pretty well. And for the first few minutes of playing, maybe the first couple of games, you'll realize, hey, this deck works for me. This is kind of within my playstyle. I can get down with this deck, and I can make this a fun deck for me to play and try to rank up and do whatever I want to play and enjoy the game. So that's the pilot, right? The pilot is somebody that will net deck or just kind of take what's out there, not necessarily make too many changes. And then you have the creators, right? The creators are people that create a lot of different decks, and they set the tone for what the meta is. They're willing to experiment, and they will take chances and risks. They may or may not be very concerned about rank. Some of them are really, really great players, so they have great ranks and they can create decks. So you kind of have that hybrid, the pilot and the creator. There's two, whatever. But that's a general rule. Like I'm saying, there's two players. You have the pilot and the creator, right? So we're talking about the creator. The creator is like, back in the day, Firebat, I would think, would be a creator. He's not playing Hearthstone anymore. He's lost interest in the game. Trump is a creator because he sets the trends for it. But at the most part, that they all have in common as creators is that they're using the cards that statistically make sense. Their goal is to make a deck that they can pilot and they can also win with, and it's good. And they're willing to experiment and try and create something. But the mathematics don't lie. If a card is a good card based on the statistics that you will see on a site like HS Replay, right? And you get these statistics, they have access to the statistics. They may use other sites like Vicious Syndicate, or they may use Hearthstone, they may use Out of Cards, or whatever it may be to get their statistics. They have access to the same numbers we do, and they use this stuff. So for example, like when you look at Elemental Shaman, that's what we're looking at right now. You have a drawn win rate, you have the number kept in the mulligan. You can also like the turns held. So this is the things that you look at when you're creating decks, these statistics. Obviously your one cards like these to the elemental, they'll be a good win rate if they're in your opening hand. So that like you have to run these cards. So the creator doesn't have an easy job, but they have a job that's based on not every card, but based on what they feel are the best cards. So it's hard to be a creator and it's hard to be a pilot. And so we see in the chat, I see that there's a comment here, which is also takes a lot of skill to play a net deck well, and also to identify if it will be good in the rank you are currently in. That is correct. And again, you will use the tools that are available to you, like whatever you choose to do. I choose to pay the $4.99 for Hearthstone Replay and play out the HS Replay. It's a cool expense because also, I'm a hopefully like an up and coming content creator who's just close. We're actually close to 1,000 subscribers, which I feel like I wish I had more. I understand how it works. We've been doing it since the beginning of the year. And we're right there. We're like 913. I have this feeling that after this video, though, because it's not necessarily Hearthstone gameplay, you'll have more. I might lose some subscribers with this video. So hopefully that's not the case. And if you haven't subscribed, just make sure you give it a thumbs up and a subscribe so that we could get to the goal. So that I can provide more content and stuff, because that's what we're trying to do, is just kind of like have fun and just discuss the game and everything. So I would agree with you, Brendan. I agree completely with the statement that it takes a certain skill. There's different types of skill sets that exist for every single player. Some players will get mad at other players and say that aggro players don't have any skill and stuff like that, and or this deck doesn't have any skill, you know. Well, that's not really true. Like it takes a lot of skill to run every single deck and play it well. You put the hands of like a very, very good deck, a very powerful deck, in the hands of a good player, just a good player, then it'll be like a great deck, you know, like it kind of gets amplified a little bit. Or if you put a very, very powerful deck into a player that's not so good, it's not going to get amplified in power. It's going to just either remain the same power or maybe come down a little bit. But like when it comes to aggro, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made most of the time. Sometimes it's not. You kind of just play the cards that are in your hand and top deck a lot, and it's kind of whatever. But when the decisions come, the thing about aggro that I think is so important and so overlooked, that when you make the decision, you have to make, if it comes to a part where you have to have a decision made, you better make the right one when it's aggro. And if you're not capable of making the right decision, you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. So that's the thing with aggro decks, is the decisions may not be as often, but they're crucial to your success. Whereas in a control deck, there are decisions to be made, and maybe more decisions that are based on every single turn or even at the future turns and stuff, that you can make more mistakes in making good or bad decisions. And there's a lot of borderline decisions that play out, and the mistakes or the great things that you do with those decks and those cards that you have in your hand are not completely entirely as mainly influential to your success, right? Or as crucial to your success. It's good, but it's not like, it's not going to like kill you if you make like something that's like a 7 out of 10 decision, right? But in an aggro deck, a 7 out of 10 decision doesn't exist. It could either be a bad decision or a good decision, and you're screwed. So that's my point there. So just checking out what's going on in the chat, and thank you everybody for just chilling out. Appreciate it. We're going to be doing this for a little bit, and this is my what I'm thinking about calling this show. I like the idea of it. I'm gonna call it No Cap. We're gonna call this show called No Cap. But I'm gonna check out the chat, see what's going on there. And so we have a big shout out to Gus with another statement, and it says, I think it's also easier to counter a net deck because you know the cards in it. If your opponent plays some wacky deck, you might get scammed because they run unexpected stuff. Right. Well, I would agree with that. But the thing also about that is that it's not necessarily that it's easier to counter a net deck. Yeah, I guess it's yeah. Let me explain to you this analogy. Right, it's very interesting, and for those of you guys that know me, you may or may not know that I used to play poker full time for a living. I played it like 7 days a week for 16 hours, and I still play. We might do some some poker on the stream. Who knows? In the meantime, right now we're focusing on Hearthstone. But so I used to be a poker player full time, part time, and more for entertainment and just kind of make money here and there or whatever, right? But what would happen is when I played poker, and I would go to the casino, and you'd be sitting down, and the person to my right one night says to me, "You know, I like playing with you because you're a good player," right? And I laughed myself because there was this idea in poker that a bad player was harder to was both ways. It was easier to play against and harder to play against because you didn't know what they were going to do. Their unpredictability was the factor that was the factor that was like kind of like what was said in the comments, that you have because you know what your opponents do. So in a case of the player here, right, who was on my well, it would be the other side, on my right, they would say, okay, well, oh, he's a good player, so I quote unquote know what he's going to do, right? Or it's a net deck, so I know what I'm going to expect, right? So it kind of makes the predictability, though, sometimes, though, knowing what your opponent is going to do or playing that or whatever it may be, just because you know what's going to happen doesn't make it any easier for you. It sometimes will, it doesn't lower the strength of the deck, is in other words, right? So this person that was sitting on my right side, that by the end of the night, general rule, they didn't have any chips, right? As they would say, especially if they said that, because they thought that they had a preconceived notion of how I played and the fact that I was a good player. So they had me figured out, or they had me down to a T. So my point there is that I guess it, to some degree, there is an element that you could predict a net deck more, and those surprises and the improbable things that don't happen, I mean that will happen or don't happen, are less often when it's a net deck. But the thing, the majority of the time, I think that edge that you get or that you don't get from when you're playing against an opponent that you can work against because they have a net deck, I don't think is large enough to make that big a difference. It's quote unquote maybe less frustrating. it could be easier at times. It could be more predictable, and the things that and the probability. That's one of the reasons why in Hearthstone a lot of people had a problem with all the randomly generated cards, because remember in Rogue, it's gotten, the randomly generated cards has actually gotten a little better at this point. But what we had is that there was a situation where Rogue used to just randomly generate stuff. That was with the laggies, and there's a lot of randomly generated cards. There still are some somewhat randomly generated cards with different things. You don't see them as much right now. They could come back, but it used to be a real big problem. And that's one of the things that people had is that the improbable, when it happened perceptually and sometimes problematically too often. There was too many chances of the improbable happening, if that makes sense. Like, because there was always these, instead of 2 chances for something improbable to happen in the course of a game, you had like 7, 8, 9, or 10 or something. So it kind of got kind of weird, right, in that aspect. And so what we're getting about is that improbability, as long as you could dumb that down a little bit and not have as much of it in the game, it does make it a little bit easier to play and read. And in fact, I believe, though, that it actually makes the game a little bit better, because if you think about it, right, if you look at like a game like chess, right, chess is within a box and any constraints and the pieces move like that, chess is a very, very good game for a lot of people. People love chess. There's people that absolutely love the game, but there's only so many moves that could happen and predictability. That doesn't make it any less fun or any less skillful or whatever. It does rely on some of prediction skills and stuff like that. So it doesn't make it, if your opponent is really great, it doesn't make it any easier just because you know what's in there, included in their repertoire of moves, right? So we have some other things that are in the chat. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this format. This is something that I want to do. Like I said, it's going to be called, I think we're going to make the show, it's going to be called No Cap. And it's a reference to the fact of no lie and no cap. And when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll do a stream without a cap, but kind of the play on that, because I always wear a cap. We're going to do this. And so this will be called the No Cap Show by VengaDragon. And it's like, yo, no cap. See, if you know the difference, some of the esports guys out there, they're like, yo, no cap, man. No, that's cap. That's cap. So we ain't going to lie in this show. Let's take a look at the chat here. So I see that Steve chimed in with, yeah, bad players or inexperienced players are completely unpredictable, all-ins and random, etc. Yeah. Right. So the thing is just to use that poker analogy a little more. So if a bad player does like a crazy all-in, and if it's a bad move, it's a bad move, right? Over time, and that's the element of many different games, right? Over the course of many different hands and experiences, and also in Hearthstone, many different turns and everything, winning moves are winning moves. Losing moves are losing moves. If you do a winning move 10 times, you should win, say, more often than if you do a losing type of play many times. So let's just use a very small sample size of 10. If the chances are that it's a 60-40 move, right? That in your favor. So in other words, a good move. If you do that 10 times, you may win 6 out of 10. You may win 7 out of 10. You may even win 8 out of 10 with that move. It's still a positive move. But it's more likely that if you're doing like a 40-60 move thing, that you would get 4 wins or 3 wins or even 2 wins. It's less likely that you're going to get the 7 out of 10 wins, right? If you just use that. So it's like a 60-40 could win 7 out of 10. It's more likely to win 7 out of 10 times than a 40-60 move that is supposed to win 4 out of 10 times. It's less likely for it to win 7 out of 10 times. So we got Gus here. Says, I agree with you, Steve, but in Hearthstone, you're also bound to your MMR. So if you're an experienced, our opponents should be around the same level, right? It was like, I just like to jump in on that. The MMR is definitely a factor. Yes, so the players should be evenly matched, right? And you should be kind of in that like right there. So even though if you're evenly matched and you match up decks that have similar strength, you can kind of make that good move and good bad these moves. I think that Gus is on an interesting point there because MMR does affect things, but if you take in the fact that chance and probability don't exist, then the MMR argument would be if that you're evenly matched players. So the game could end in a draw. So there's lots of factors that go into that, and it's making the good decisions. So I'm not saying that you get unlucky, but sometimes the element of chance, and with any card game, the element of chance comes into play. That's just what it is. It's not unlucky. It's just doing the best with what you receive. So to some degree, the matchup then does become a little bit more deck oriented. And I think that's probably one of the parts that's in Hearthstone right now that is a bit of a problem, is the fact that there are some decks that are very polarizing and some of the matchups are very bad. Like, for example, and you won't even believe this, but like, say, for example, like Warrior, right? The Pirate Warrior, the Quest Warrior that's out there versus Mage. Before the nerfs, it's still kind of bad since the nerfs, but if you look at like before the nerfs, and I'll just go to like on Hearthstone Replay. And my point here is that it's a very polarizing matchup. So let me just check that and I'll show you what I mean. So we go to, say, the Warrior class here, and you have Quest Warrior. Let me just use that as an example. I'm pretty sure that even after the nerfs, the matchup versus Mage, ooh, this one actually says it's good. Okay. It says it's 60%, so that disproves my theory. But that's a new variation of Quest Warrior. I'm talking about like Quest Control Warrior, is I think what I was looking at. Yeah. Like here it is. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's right here is a 30.3% win rate against a warrior, right? Against a mage. The warrior has a 30.3 thing. So there's some very, very polarizing matchups that even the best player in the world, right? Even if, like, let's say that you have two insanely good players, this matchup right here, right? So say that I queue up, MMR goes into effect, I go and I play my game, and I get matched up to a player that's evenly matched with me, and that player happens to be a mage. Just so you know, this number was down in the 20s when before the nerf, so it's just come up a little bit, but it was like 27 at one point I saw. Anyway, my skill and their skill evenly matched. This matchup is way too polarizing, and I think that's part of the problem with Hearthstone right now, is that there are these big discrepancies, that some of the very good decks have very, very, very polarizing matchups against certain decks. I mean, this one here, like if you look at Mage, against Mage, it's 30.3, and it's also against Paladin, it's 37.8. Against Warlock, it's 30.9. So that's kind of bad, and this should have been an archetype that was doing a little better, and it so has lately is that the Quest Control Warrior is starting to do better, and because people have changed up the variant, it's like not really Quest Control, it's gone more to just Quest, which is based on some breakup cards. It's just a lot faster and a bit more aggro, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. So as we check out the chat again, I hope you guys are enjoying this kind of format. It's kind of cool, something that I'm thinking about doing on Saturday night or Saturdays during the day. And it's a great place for where we could discuss and kind of have debates, and you know, we could do no cap. We'll do no cap once in a while. I'll give you a little teaser. There is some hair under there. All right, there it is. I got hair. All right. So it's the no cap show. No cap. What's his name? Nate Shot. You know, remember, you know what I'm saying? You know Nate Shot, right? I was like watching an interview with Nate Shot, and Nate Shot's like in the interview, they're like asked him, they're like, yo, Nate Shot, let me ask you something. So what do you think happened to Dr. Disrespect? Do you think that he just like kind of left because, like, you know, he felt like it? And Nate Shot's like, he's like, that's cap, yo, no cap. And then like later on they're like, no cap. And he's like, cap, oh yeah, cap, that's cap, right? But I like Nate Shot. I think he's kind of funny, but like I also don't take him like too as seriously as he takes himself. But I don't know if you ever noticed, but like when Nate Shot, like when he's in his studio, he's like, Yo, this is Nadeshot. What's going on, everybody? Yo, we got the thing. We're down with 100 Thieves, yo. You know, and I can't believe that we got this going on, man. You know, that our team is really super, you know, like messed up right now. You know, our aim is to win. Our aim is to win, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's to win. We're gonna win some games, right? And then he's like, you go, now you take him over into another studio, right? Into someone else's studio. And they go over and he's in the interview and like, so this is like, now they'd be in our studio here, the No Cap studio, right? And they're like, yo, Nadeshot, listen, what do you think about the performance of 100 Thieves? Remember, now he's not on his microphone. He's like, well, I think that we were kind of not really doing so well. I mean, it's kind of a messed up situation. It's a completely different. It's like the octaves, like in his studio. He's like, yo, No Cap, what's up? You know, 100 Thieves, yo. And then he goes into someone else. He's like, yeah, love Nadeshot, but yeah, like, come on, man. You got to keep it real, you know. That deep voice that you have in your own studio, yo, that's Cap. That's Cap, yo. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's where the name of the show came from. It's No Cap. And it's, my shout out to Nadeshot. You love him. If you don't know who it is, Google Nadeshot 100 Thieves and check out Nadeshot. He's an interesting person and kind of like sort of an inspiration for me a little bit because I am an esports team owner. And that esports team, as you can see over there, is called Ryzen. We are sponsored by FIFINE microphones, which is what we got here. And we're putting together some things, making some moves, making some plays. And the No Cap show is pretty cool. It's something that I really want to do. It is. It's a nice chilled out chat. We got the music chilled and kind of like hanging out and doing so. I'm gonna open this up to everybody that's here who is chilling. If you want to ask some questions and you want to ask me anything, always nice chats with you guys and find out what's going on. So I'm gonna leave the floor to you guys while I just kind of sip on my coffee here a little bit. Actually, one of the things that when I do this show or just stream in general, talking so much is like it starts to hurt my jaw talking so much because I'm moving my mouth all the time and do that. It's something that I'm trying to get used to, and it's like it hurts my mouth from talking so much because you got to talk quick. You got to keep yourself going and going. And generally, as a rule, when I'm a person that's just like hanging out and kind of like whatever, I'm a listener, not always a talker. I do like to talk, of course, and express my opinion, but your jaw gets tired. So let me check out the chat here. Have you ever played Arena? Yes. In fact, I wanted to do some Arena streams. I like the differences and the nuances between the two different genres. And I see there's another question here from Thomas. Thomas, I'll get to your question. Welcome to the stream anyway. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. I'm VengaDragon. We're just doing this kind of show, which is called No Cap. And you could watch the earlier, if I don't know if you're here, explaining why that is the name of the show, but welcome to the channel. The Arena thing is something that I want to play on stream. I do like the idea. I think it's a great way to grind out quests is kind of cool. You can clear some of the quests, meaning the daily quests that you get to make dust. And if you can learn how to win, say like maybe 4 or 5 games in an arena, you can build your collection out. So it's pretty good for the bonus clearing, the going up through, and also it's a good way to have some fun in Hearthstone. And I like because it's a kind of can be sometimes a mixture of like standard and wild, and so it does ever change. It kind of freshens up like month after month. The decks sometimes are the same, but it's really cool Arena is something that I definitely would love to do and more, and I would consider that because, like, for me, Hearthstone is really more about entertainment. And I don't really like the grind of Hearthstone, of like grinding to legend every single month and feeling obligated to, you know, win all those games and do whatever it may be. It's not so fun. I like the more content creation side, the more analytical side and stuff. But the thing that would be good about Arena is that it would be a game that I could really get down with. That would be something that I felt I would be able to just like really get into and like be competitive and win like 12 games in a row, and then we start again. So there's like kind of different things. So it's like less grindy and more fun oriented, just to build decks. You get kind of the best of both worlds. You get the good piloting and you get the good building of the decks. You also get the encouragement from the audience. So yeah, Arena is something I have played before. I don't play enough of it. So check out what Thomas Grant said. What do you think is the best warrior deck? Well, warrior is in a weird place right now, right? Because we have warrior is really strange because I made a video. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it yet, please go over to the channel here. You can check out on my channel, VengaDragon. There's a video called Control is Dead. And it's not clickbait because Control is pretty much dead for the most part. I think that the best decks should have been Quest Control Warrior. I think that it should do so, is what I really thought would be the best. But I think that the best warrior deck right now is Rush Warrior, without a doubt. Is like still somewhat playable. You know what I mean? It's not somewhat playable. It's very playable. It's like one of the higher win rate deck is Rush Warrior. Second to that is the new, more aggressive Quest Warrior deck that's out there. And there are some. The problem with the Quest Warrior deck is if like we look at the Hearthstone Replay again, we can go to the thing and we'll check out, like, here you have Quest Warrior, right? And this is, there aren't too many bad matchups for it. You got Warlock, which is a 48.6% win rate, and Warrior itself, which is a 42.9%. And then Demon Hunter is a 40% win rate, and Paladin is a 48% win rate. The problem with Quest Warrior is just that, is that these matchups, that when you're playing against a meta full of Warlocks and your win rate is less than 50%, it's going to be hard to ascend. It's going to be hard to counter that. We can then use the trending or the meta tab here, and we go to, say, popularity. And again, like I said, I do have the paid program, but if you see right here, the most popular deck in Hearthstone right now in Legend is Quest Zulak, right? So let's just go to Diamond Rank 1. It's Quest Shaman, Elemental Shaman. Let's do Legend again. It's Quest Zulak, Quest Shaman, Quest Warlock, and Mage, right? So these are the most popular decks. So let's go back to this deck here. This is one of the Quest Warrior. You have that it is 52% versus Shaman, 48% against a Warlock, and 60% against Mage, and against the Paladin it's 48%. Demon Hunter, which whatever. So Quest Warrior is not terrible, but you're going to be facing a lot more of your opponents that are very polarizing matchups, or not very or just polarizing, some disabled matchups. So yeah, Quest Warrior is pretty good. But let's take a look at the Elemental Shaman. No, I was talking about Warrior. So if I go to the Warrior class, and Rush Warrior was the one that I talked about that I thought was very good. And what did my Stormwinds? You got Rush with Warrior, which would be 57%. Yeah, that's what I figure, right? So, oh, something went wrong. What was that? There it is. No available data. That's not possible. No available data. There must be a small sample size. Yeah. So let's try one with a larger sample size. There it is. We're having a little problem on HS Replay. So let's check it out. Talking about the warrior deck here for anyone that's joined. What's the best warrior deck? Let me just check. We look like we're having a little situation. No problem, Steve. If you're grab a drink, that's cool to do. Yeah. Unfortunately, here's one with 3,600. There we go. So this one this is a Rush Warrior deck with a 53% win rate, a 52% win rate, and it's good against. It has a positive win rate against the Death Rattle Demon Hunter or just Demon Hunter in general. That is a 60.5% win rate versus Druid, 56.9 versus Hunter, and Mage is 53.8, Paladin 61.8, Priest 66.7, Rogue 62.2, Shaman 45.5, and then the Warlock is 37.3, and then against other archetypes of Warrior it's 48.0%, 48%. That leads me to believe that to some degree Warrior is in a tough spot right now. There are no best decks. It's probably something that you shouldn't play is Warrior, and it's unfortunate because it does have the against the more popular classes, Shaman and Warlock, and you know, it's gonna be hard to beat them. There's a lot of them in Diamond through Legend and Legend. So it's probably not the greatest deck to play right now, Rush Warrior. It's still very competitive. If you happen to be facing a lot of Paladins and you're facing, say, even Hunters and Rogues, you're gonna just gobble them up and destroy them. So yeah, it's pretty interesting kind of deck going there, you know. So that's one of the things that this deck has going for us. So yeah, this is, like I said, is what we're gonna call this is the No Cap, and No Cap is a new show by VengaDragon featuring the guy who always wears a cap. And as you know, no cap means no lie. So we ain't gonna lie. We're gonna tell it like it is here. We're gonna tell people just how it is. How, you know, how does this game go? And that's what that is the goal on the no cap show. You know what I'm saying? I hope that answers your question on Warrior. So is it worth it to buy the United in Stormwind bundle where you get 2 legendaries and 20 packs? First, again, thank you so much for your question, Thomas. I appreciate that. I will get to that. Let me just see. Also, Steve Wake has one as well. Looks like we're going to be getting a couple of different questions coming in. So I'm going to just save those 2 questions. Hopefully you don't mind the delay. We'll have to get a moderator at some time if the no cap show goes. But to get to the first question here by Thomas, as you can do that, is like I said, is it worth it to buy the United in Stormwind bundle where you get 2 legendaries and 20 packs? So let me check on the price. I want to check on the price on that if I can. Let me go to this here. So go to battle. You know what I love about what's funny about the Hearthstone is, I don't know if you ever seen this, and for those of you who don't know, that VengaDragon is in Europe. I'm an American. I'm from New York originally, and I lived in New York for most of my life up until my later years. And I'm a bit older, guys. Hey, you know, no, don't hate the player. Hate the game, not the player. Hate the game, hate the player, not the game. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm on the older side. I get a lot of age discrimination and stuff like that. So I always appreciate that you guys are here to watch even someone that's who I am, older. Okay, so I'm looking at the United and Stormwinds. Anyway, the reason why I was saying that I'm in Europe and I'm a New Yorker is I find it funny how Hearthstone and Battle will, for example, right? They will, they have the United and Stormwind bundle, and that's what we're talking about, is this particular thing here, right? And it's $19.99, right? so as you can see, that's $19.99, right? Well, if you look at the US server, and we'll just type in, we'll just change your URL real quick. The price is $19.99 for USD. That's the price. Wait a minute. 19.99 euros is not the same as $19.99. And if you're in the UK, it's 19.99 pounds. So let's just check. And that's one of the funny things about Hearthstone, is the fact that they do this thing with the currencies, which is really funny. So let's just look at the, just a side note to the question here. So, all right. So interestingly enough, you have $19.99, and that's in USD, and we'll change that into euros. Okay. So $19.99 in euros is 17 euros. And the price will be the same in pounds. So let's convert it to pounds. 19.99 pounds to US dollars is 27 US dollars. If you're paying in euros, it's $23.38. So they just flipped the currency on the price of the bundles. So it's kind of funny. But you can, though, just so you know, so Steve, for a tip for you, because I know that you're in the UK, all you need to do when you go and buy the packs is do exactly what I did, and I'll show you how to do it. Is if you, let's say that you go here, right, and you wanted to do the thing, and this is for anybody that's in the UK and not in or in Europe. Okay. All right, so you can just check here. Yeah. All right, so we're talking about the bundle. You go like this. So this is the EU shop, right? You see that link that I just put it in the description. Now I put in EU dot thing. Just go right into the link, and where it says where, if you see at the front, it would say, I think for the UK, it would say uk.shop.battle.net. Just go into the URL and then just change that front part to US shop, right? And then you can change the link to the US shop like that. And the link will remain the same. The card packs will come up. The price will still be $19.99, and you'll have the lower, you'll be able to buy it. When you buy it, when you go to buy the packs, right, you got to go down here. There, so you could save some money if you decide to do it. see here where it says you do the buy now. Once you click on that, you'll be able to then select the region that you can send it to. So if you're playing on the US server, you would just select US Americas. If you're playing on the UK server, then, or you know, the EU server, then you would select EU. So that's a tip, just save you some money. Don't say I never did anything for you, Steve. You know how it is. Thank you very much for that. So you were going to tell me a hack after I have spent hundreds of pounds over the years? No way. That is some tip. Cheers. That is awesome. Well, I'm glad that I made your day, Steve, and also put you, Steve is in a situation where he's just like, he's face palming right now. He's like, I spent hundreds of pounds over the years, and now I'm angry, but I'm happy at the same time. So just consider it an education. You invested in your education. We'll do it like that. Okay. All right. So to the question, and that question is, so let's look at the bundle, the Stormwind bundle, and when you have the bundle, you get 20 packs. So let me just bring that up on the screen, and I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys are enjoying this show too, because I really like this format. This is something that I want to do. All right, so the bundle is, you get 20 packs plus 2 legendaries, and so that is for $20, right? So that's $1 per pack, right? And on the website, on the, you know, in the client, right, you have the packs for 2 packs is $2.99, right? So $2.99 for 2 packs, so that would make them $1.50 a piece. So you get a discount plus you get it, so 2 pack, so a pack is $1 plus you're guaranteed 2 legendaries, so you're getting 22 cards. And they also have the idea of where you don't get duplicates, right? So you'd fill out your collection. So I think this is a very good, very good deal. I think it's a good deal, and the reason why is because you get the two legendaries right there alone. That's 2 guaranteed legendaries, right? 1 in 10, which is the odds. You never know that with the 20 packs, you could potentially open up. You could get somewhere. You run the risk of getting about maybe 3 legendaries, 3 or 4 legendaries from this entire pack. So it's definitely worth the money. Plus the classic cards, if you get some goldens and stuff like that, and you want to do it, so it's some good dust opportunities. Also, United in Stormwinds is the new thing. It's great. It's good. Very good deal. Yeah, I play on the EU server, and I have a story about that idea with the reason why I play on the EU server is I told you that I've been in the poker business where I play poker for a living, and during that time made a lot of friends in the business, and I've gotten involved also in the marketing side. For anybody that wants to know, and I might as well, because it's no cap, we tell the truth here, we just say what's on our head, is that we have I was a marketing agent in my former life, and I knew a lot about marketing. So I was playing poker, and I'm educated in marketing, but it gets hard, man. It's like, you know, The days, it's 7 days a week. Literally playing poker for a living is 7 days a week, 8 to 16 hours a day. I'm a person that does love the sunshine. Like, I absolutely love sun. I love the beach. I love going out. I like drinking beers and stuff like that. I like kind of, you know, just enjoying life. I like to drink wine from time to time. And with poker, you can do none of that. As a living for poker, you can do none of that. So to make a long story short, well, we never want to make a long story short. We want to talk. But I got involved in the marketing side of poker. And through poker was how I found the Hearthstone. Now, for anybody that's in the UK or in Europe, I work actually one of my main clients, my biggest client that I have, and I still run this marketing firm, boutique marketing firm with my wife, and that's kind of like my real job. But I mean, I'm making my job content creation is what I want to do. That's what my main focus is going to be, is just basically doing what we're doing now. But it's so I have a very, very big client in the UK, and you probably all know them and still have them, but they were the ones that introduced me to Hearthstone. And I was in the UK at the time, and they said, check out Hearthstone. And I started playing. I didn't know anything about the game, and I had taken like almost a 30-year hiatus from playing video games. 30 years, guys. Oh, no, don't say that. But I took a real long break from playing any video games, and I just signed up. I didn't know anything, and I signed up on the UK server in the UK while I was there, and was paying in pounds at the beginning, and kind of just like checked out stuff. I didn't know that you really could that you could play the game without necessarily paying, and I just started building my collection, just putting money into Hearthstone. At the beginning, I spent like somewhere like probably 1,200 to 2,000 pounds in my first year of playing Hearthstone, for some crazy reason. So I decided to stay on the UK. I already got you, Steve. I think I got you. I already got you. Oh yeah, I got Steve on my server. I see the creeps come up once in a while. And Team EU, yeah, we're chilling. Yeah, we're chilling out here. But we got all our brothers in the house. The EU contingency up in here. You know what I'm saying? On a Saturday night, we got the EU contingency. And the next question, I think there was another. It was, how do you feel about the current meta? This is a question here by Steve. And that one came up before. It's we'll get that up on the screen. And yeah, so Steve Wake asks, hello, Venga, master of hype. How do you feel about the current meta? I must say, I'm a bit disheartened. Quests suck compared to something like WOTLK Heroes, for example. How extensive do you think Blizzard play testing is? Wow, that's a question I love. I love answering this question. I love it. I absolutely love answering this question because I have an answer for you. Totally do. I totally have one for you. And the thing about the meta is it's interesting, and it's funny. I was talking about this. Let me go on a subreddit here, a sub chat, right? A sub idea. The reason why I started this show is because last night, and this is something I'm going to be doing, the no cap show, right? So we're going to start doing it. We'll figure out how we're going to do it. I think it's going pretty well. It seems like pretty neat. But last night I was talking to my wife. We were hanging out on our terrace. I have a terrace over here in Spain. We're chilling, and I'm talking to my wife about Hearthstone. I'm talking to my wife about Hearthstone. That's what I'm doing. And she's just like, She doesn't care. She's being very kind and very nice. Yes, Yes, Venga. Yes, yes, of course. Yep. You know. And yes, she does call me Venga when I talk about Hearthstone. She's like, yes, Venga. And so she was going with that, and I'm just talking to her about it, and I was like, you know what, I need to talk about Hearthstone with you guys. I just need to talk about gaming in general. So to that question where Steve asked about the thing, and so let's talk about the first question. There's several questions here. Is how do you feel about the current meta? I think that the meta is extremely fun. I actually do to some degree. If you're a competitive player, this meta is terrible. But if you want to just like play around and just like do kooky stuff and just kind of mess up and complete quests and whatever, it's kind of fun, right? If you want to play a second game of the meta and you want to then have fun, you might start to struggle a little bit. If you want to play a third game of this meta, then you may start to kind of have a little bit not so fun because you run into many of the same classes, aka Warlock. A lot of your games will be against Warlock, and also Shaman. I made a tweet today, which is kind of in reference to that, so I'm kind of being a little bit facetious, guys, about that idea of that I think is extremely fun. There might be a little bit of sarcasm in there. I think that the meta needs a little bit of help, but let me show you what I tweeted out. And if you guys aren't already, you should follow me on Twitter. We can build a little thing there. We do a little stuff. There he is, VengaDragon, founder of Ryzen, hyperryzen.com. And you know I have a website too, VengaDragon.com. But anyway, here's my tweet was today, and I tweet out all kinds of stuff, so hopefully you might want to get over there. And that's VengaDragon, which is my name here, and also on Twitter if you want to follow me there. The Hearthstone overtime clock. Well, the meta right now is, as you can see down here on the right arrow, just before 8 o'clock is turn 7 o'clock. And the meta kind of feels like you're in this, against the clock. You're playing against the clock. And some people have said that it's like you're playing solitaire. I do agree with that, but I also have another nuance to it, which is you are not playing just solitaire. You're actually watching your opponent create a puzzle, right? Like the quests are just like watching them solve a puzzle. That's not that hard to solve, right? It's not that surprising most of the time of how it's solved. It's like a very, very small puzzle that just needs to be solved. So the quests in this sense, I think they're a little bit too fast. I don't think that they add some kind of cool things. Like I think the warrior one is kind of really cool. You know, like that's kind of cool. I think the quest mage one kind of stinks. I think the warlock one is busted. I think that the dwarven one for the hunter, dwarven quarters, is like opens up kind of a cool thing for the control type archetype, which would be in hunter if it ever came to a thing. So I think the quests are kind of bad, and I can kind of agree with you. And I must say I'm a bit disheartened. Because I really want to love this game, and I kind of like don't love it right at that moment, and it feels bad, you know what I mean, because it just feels bad, and you know, so I kind of whatever. So I think that they're a bad design. So it kind of leads into the next question part of this, which is how extensive do you think Blizzard playtesting is? Well, this is what I was talking to my wife about last night. And like she said, she was like, you know. She was like, yeah, you know. But last thing on the quests. I just want to say last thing on the quests. It's a very interesting thing and it goes back to my gambling roots of the idea of being a poker player. There's a thing in gambling, which is called, and it exists in poker, which is called gambler's distortion. And gambler's distortion is a thing that where if you start to lose, you feel good, right? So finishing second feels good. Finishing first feels great. Finishing second feels good. Finishing first feels great. Losing doesn't hurt so bad. It feels kind of good. It's kind of weird, right? Gambler's distortion, but finishing second feels good, right? So my kind of conspiratory thinking behind the quest is that you could lose the game, but complete your quest and quote unquote feel good. So Blizzard can be kind of cagey. Who knows? Maybe they're playing on that gambler's distortion type of mentality that even though so everybody wins. You complete the quest, you win, right? If you complete the quest before your opponent. If you complete the quest after your opponent, you kind of win. You finish second. So you kind of still feel like you won. You know what I mean? Like you get like that weird thing. So maybe they're playing on something there. Conspiracy, yes, whatever. Truth, possibly. But to the question of how extensive do you think Blizzard playtesting is, I don't think they test the game the same way we do, right? Now this is my exact thinking on the deal with that. If you're like you're playing, you and I, when I say you, right? You and I, you, me, everybody, all of us, we're playing the game. We're playing like, say, maybe we're playing 1,000 games. I don't know, whatever you play a month, 100 games a day, 200 games a day. Who knows? Whatever it may be, right? And you run into whatever it may be. Now we'll get to the developers. The developers are playing, and they sit down and they play test the game, right? They have the access to the same statistics we do for the most part, and probably even more. They look at the numbers, they know what the numbers are, the balances, and how the cards, and they probably have certain algorithms and formulas that they put together, and they balance the meta. Well, they may play 10 games in a day, and you kind of want the developers not playing the game. You want them working on the software more so, and kind of like doing stuff. Maybe they should play the game more. It means that they should really listen to the community more. But here's what happens. So they go and they play the game, right? They play one game and they complete the quest, right? And yeah, the other person on the other side that they're playing and they're battle testing the game or play testing, and they complete their plays. They're like, yes, oh my god, woo, it's so cool, yay, right? And it's like exciting, yes, yeah. Right? And I'll admit, when I first played in the game and I saw the new meta comes out, United in Hearthstone, United in Stormwind, so exciting. Here we go, the quests are here, and we're talking about, oh yes, let's see, yes, we have quests. Oh my goodness, it's so cool. We're like, oh yeah, so even the first time that you see a quest completed against you, you're like, ooh, wow, like you kind of like, oh yeah, like it's kind of cool, yay, right? Or you complete yours, yay, woohoo, yes, it's so much fun. Oh, that's awesome. Now the second time, you're like, ah, third time, fourth, 100th time you've seen the mage play against you, complete its quest on turn 5, drop down a 7/7 5 mana on turn 6, and then kill you in the next turn, mana cheat with Incanter's Flow and stuff. You're like, and you've seen it like 20 to 30 times. So what I'm saying is they have access to the same numbers that we do. They have the same statistical analysis, but they don't have the actual playtesting number of hands that they play. They don't play a number of games. They don't play as many games as we do as players, So they're like, they kind of, they don't have the same playtesting. And playtesting is important. So I don't think they playtest it enough. I don't think that they get the statistical stuff down. They get that kind of correct or whatever it may be. And I can see a lot of times, like, I don't know if you've ever seen, but like I talk about things, I'm like, yo, I know what they're thinking. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by it. There's a card, and it has to go back. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me to remember this, so I'm going to try to do my best. We'll go to the Play Hearthstone site, and I will find the card. Right? And the card that is there is... Oh, man. I don't know if anybody can... If you want to just put it in chat for me. I think it's a wild card now. And that card is... It's with Divine Shield, right? Everything loses Divine Shield. What is the name of that card? That when it drops on the board and it gets 3 mana 3/3. It gets it's a 3 mana 3/3 and it gets +3 when it enters the board. I think it's... There it is, Blood Knight. Okay, so Blood Knight, right? And so use this as an example, all right? So we'll talk about, as you're like, okay, where are you going with this, Venga? Well, I'll explain. All right. Now, so this is like kind of like what the developers will talk about. All right. So let me show you. This is like kind of what they play test with here. So, and it would be our library. Yep, there it is. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me show you. So you have Blood Knight. We're going to use this as an example and you'll get what I'm saying. Okay. So this is when Hearthstone started, right? So you look at Blood Knight. What it is, a 3 mana 3/3. All minions that lose Divine Shield gain a +3/+3 for each shield loss. Okay. So all minions lose Divine Shield. And this card gets a +3/+3 for all the minions that lose it, right? Now, this card is a neutral, right? And then the next card that we see is this. Okay, this is a Paladin card, okay? And it's an 8 mana card, right? It is a 8 mana 6/6. Right? Which then will have Divine Shield and whatever. Okay. So Hearthstone decides, okay, we're gonna print Blood Knight, and Blood Knight is kind of like the counter or the balance for the card Tyrion Forting. And we're talking like way back in the day, okay? This is like the original thing. But if you follow along with what I'm saying, this is kind of how they think in terms of even today. They print the 3/3, it loses it. So there's 1 minion on the board, that would be Tyrion Forting. They drop this down, it's a 6/6. You have something that's on the board already, maybe. You have like a whatever card it may be. You got something that can ping off Tyrion Forting, then clear Tyrion Forting, and then now you have a 3 mana 6/6. You might be able to drop down a charge minion or whatever, or have like a something on the board that you could clear Tyrion Forting, and then this replaces Tyrion Forting as a 6/6 for 3 mana. You get to play 2 cards, maybe 3 cards, because it's late in the game. It might be later on, whatever. And this is kind of that counter to like Tyrion Forting and to the... It just so happens it's +3/+3, and it becomes a 6/6 on the board, and at the very least can trade into Tyrion Forting should that be the case. You know, it can it's going to be hard for something else to kill it, maybe, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Or if there happens to be 2 Divine Shield minions, this would be a 9/9, so it kind of counters Tyrion Fording, then whatever, right? So what I'm saying here is they kind of printed with those ideas in mind, these different cards, and they look to like this, and it's solely because they don't play the game as much as we do, because you know that if you played in the past with a card like Blood Knight, what you do is you don't specifically make just this counterplay. You don't do just the Tyrion counterplay. The players, we all load up our deck with as many freaking Divine Shield minions as we can, and we play this card, and then you drop this down on, like, you know, we give something Divine Shield, we drop this down, and this becomes a freaking 12/15 or something like that. So what happens is they think very much to the idea of that when they're building the decks and the cards, and they're designing the cards, they're thinking specific counters. They don't necessarily think completely about the exploitations of how this card could then play out. Like, you know, so often we sit there and think, wow, you know, like, oh, you know, how did they print this card? I'll give you another example of a card of how on earth do they print this? There's a card that I was like shocked. That it's shocking. This card right here, still, like, if you saw my card reviews that I did, right? This card right here, Battleground Battlemaster, is a 6-mana 5/5. This used to be a 5/5, which gives adjacent minions have Wind Fury. What on earth are they doing when they print this card? This card is busted. It'll always be busted. This card could be a 5. It could right now be a 6/1/1 and probably still be playable. And probably everybody would run this card in their deck. You could probably run this card 7-mana 5/5. I mean, a 6-mana, it could be a 6-mana 0/1, and they probably would still run this card. You know, it's just an insane card. Like, what are they thinking, you know? So it's like, yeah, I mean, if you look at Battlegrounds Battlemaster, for example, there is a case of where they kind of like, the Conviction can be a 1-mana card because it's a holy spell, and Carriel Roam, right, can reduce the cost of a holy spell, right? So you get the Rush Divine Shield. So you can always get early in the game because you can run the 1-mana 1/1, which is in Paladin, the Stormwind champion, or is a the Knight of Anointment, right? You can run Knight of Anointment in your hand, so you can always find to have a Conviction in your hand early. If you run Carriel Roam, you get that back down to 1 mana anyway. The fact that goes up to 6 mana, it does slow that things down, but it's still very playable and very whatever. I do believe that with like Battlegrounds Battlemaster, it is you know, definitely a card that it could have easily. Still, and when I saw this card printed, I just couldn't believe my eyes, right? I was like, wow. You know, how on earth do we see this? It could easily be 7 mana, still be playable. This card is 7 mana, still be, because you're not really using it. Like, very rarely do you see anybody drop this down on a board that's not been set up and hooked up. Why would you do that? The effect is so strong. Like, unless, like, I don't know, like you're behind and like you tempo this card out on, well, let me throw down the Battlegrounds Battlemaster on 6 and tempo it out. Like, you're probably at that point probably losing the game anyway, you know? You're probably going to lose. So this health 5/5 doesn't matter. It's a great body that could stick around, but this card is just so busted. So there was another question here. We got the what other games do you play besides Hearthstone? Well, poker for one, right? And I don't really play many other games. I want to get into some other ones. I was thinking I used to play a lot more World of Tanks and stuff like that, because I just, again, I was in the UK and my friend, he just was like, yo, here, he's like he bought me a tank for my birthday, and I was like, so I'm on the EU server there as well. I do kind of enjoy Battlegrounds. I mean, World of Tanks kind of cool. I like I don't really know. I haven't really found anything else, other games that I like. I do like Teamfight Tactics. I play that. I wanted to get into some different things because I want to stream some different things on the channel as well. The poker ways takes the way that it works with poker, my friends, and I will explain this to you. I give you the good news that poker takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master. It is a very, very intricate game. It takes minutes, literally. You can learn it. I could teach you poker in 3 minutes, but it'd take you the rest of your life to actually master the game. And it's a lot like Hearthstone in that aspect, is that it's a very easy game to play, but it's a very difficult game to master. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I get along with Hearthstone as well as I do, is because I kind of like the thing. I like baseball as well. Baseball is a big thing, so I do play some baseball simulators. Like I have a baseball team that I've actually had for 12 years. So and I've played like 60 seasons. You finish a season in baseball every 3 to 4 months with it. So I've had it, like, actually I think I've had it for 14 years. I think I got it in 2006, and I've had a same baseball team on there. So I guess that's another game I play, is a baseball simulator. And I like that because it's statistical. That's one of the things I like about baseball and Hearthstone, is I like the statistics. I think that I'm like one of those people that can actually study the game more so, and kind of give a perspective on the game more so than I actually enjoy playing the game. I don't, as of late, I don't really enjoy playing Hearthstone as much as I do analyzing and doing these conversations and kind of going over it and just like chilling and like the news and seeing what's going on and just looking at the cards and thinking of strategies. But then once I try to put it in practice, I'm just like, so I kind of like understand this game from many different ways, like as far as like a marketing aspect, to a player's aspect, to a developer's aspect, all sides of the coin. I'm willing to just sit there and learn about Hearthstone. And I gotta say that, like Venga, if you don't know already, but I'm pretty much, I'm a pretty deep person. And what I mean by deep is that I think a lot. And I would like to consider myself like a socially conscious person. And I believe that in one of the things that we must all do, and this is kind of a sidetrack of things, but remember, this is the no cap show. We say what's on our mind. We say what we want, no cap. And the idea behind that is that I'm pretty open, honest, and also I'm accepting. I'm this person who accepts people for who they are and what they believe. And I think that listening and studying people and learning and teaching is a very, very important thing. Now, the deep part here is that I don't believe in tolerance. We have issues that are going on Twitch in the community of gaming. There's been some hate speech and things directed at people that don't deserve it. And there is no such thing as tolerance. There is a zero tolerance approach that you take to any type of bigotry, racism, hate against women, hate against minorities, and anybody, The hate is not a good thing. Listen, teach, and accept. Do not tolerate. Meet any type of bigotry, any type of negative, toxic, terrible, prejudiced behavior with force. Not tolerant. With force. Do not tolerate it. Do not accept it. Fight it, and be really, really vigilant to make sure that you really put your foot down. I mean, if you have a friend that's exhibiting those type of behaviors, you know, check it, man. Try to change it. Meet it with force. Take advantage of it, of the fact that we are all friends in this community. We can be. We don't always have to agree, but we don't have to hate each other. That's very important. You know, so back to Hearthstone. I see some different things in the quest. Yep, I think I got all of your questions. If there's anything else that you would like to hear me talk about, it's gonna be good. I'm even open to, with like no cap, would be to check out. Hello, Brendan. Thumbs up to you for acknowledging the words. I appreciate you for being here. I've seen you before. I hope that you're doing well. That's kind of the new format here of what we got going on. This is the no cap episode. Venga doesn't cap, no lies. You know what I mean? We got our little t-shirt on right there. We're just chilling out. I'm gonna just hang out and see if you guys want to ask any more questions. You can ask about Hearthstone. You can ask me about anything that you like. It can be anything, any question that you want, you know. And I hope that everybody is respectful in asking your questions. But it's an open forum, no cap. We could talk if we want. If we have some questions, that would be fine. In the meantime, wanted to look at another card that I think was in Hearthstone that is pretty cool, and I want to talk about this card in Hearthstone while we're doing it. Cheese. All right. This card here. The Cheesemonger. This card right here. Cheesemonger is a card that if you haven't played before, you gotta try this card because it's just so stupid. It's just so fun. This is one of the funner cards. I wish it was more playable. I actually have kind of played this a little bit in some like a Shaman. I put this in a Shaman, and you play it like, just play it down on turn 4 and just let your opponent just try to kill it, and weird stuff starts happening. You can play it in Shaman. I've even played it in Hunter, and it's just funny. Cool, funny stuff happens with this card. So I recommend that if you haven't already, definitely give this card, Cheesemonger, a shake. Play this card. It is such a stupid card. I was talking about this on there. So Gimzal, how many Hyper Ryzen have been playing in 2021 Hearthstone Grand Prix? Seen 2 so far. That would be 2. Hey Gimzal, how you doing? Good to see you. Yes, 2. We have in there. We have McBatterface and Dreadeye are both on the Hyper Ryzen team. Dreadeye is. They both got knocked out, I think, recently, but we have 2. We plan to get more. We have to do more there. We also open up some other games as well, and so we had another player. I don't know if you had seen with the this here. We have Heart Queen, who is on the site. She was featured on Battle.net. I don't know if you saw it, but she's actually was on the Battle.net client. There's many different ways that if people wanted to join, there are benefits to joining Hyperizon. You can, you get like perks and things like that. Like I have some relationship with different people in the community. Some of the other owners at the site have it as well. You can join Hyperizon if you're a streamer, as we're looking for content creators and writers and stuff. So anybody that wants to, here's the benefits. You can find that link at hyperizon.com/hyperizing. If you haven't, you can check it out. But yeah, the Hearthstone Masters is going on right now. Hopefully things can continue to go and we'll do good. It's pretty cool. It's always nice to see when you have like somebody from your team representing for the Grand Masters, and it's really cool and sort of a dream come true to have that. It's a work in progress. It's a lot of work. Believe it or not, I work on Hyperizon hours and hours and hours of days. It just feels like I never get anything done. There's so much to do. There's always so many new things to do. I wish it was easier, but it is not. It is not easier. It's actually harder and harder. It gets harder and harder and harder and more work every single day to do the job at Hyperizon. And we have the Hype Rising team, and we have T Fight Tactics, and we have Hearthstone. We're planning to add Rocket League. We're going to add League of Legends. We're also going to add different things. I'm kind of like a regular, what's his name? Entrepreneur, a wantrepreneur, I might be considered. So that would be what I am doing. So yeah, this is the No Cap show. What we wear the cap, but definitely something hopefully that people will enjoy and watch the VOD and chill out and enjoy that. I'd like to give a big shout out to everybody that joined me this evening in the broadcast, or if it's the day for you or wherever you may be. I haven't said this in a while. It's something that I used to say many times on my stream, which is do something nice for somebody. You should do something nice for somebody every single day, and that person includes you. You could do something nice for yourself. You can do something nice for someone else. You can. All of you can. Everybody has the power within them to do something nice for somebody else. Do something nice for somebody else every single day. Do something nice for somebody every single day. If you do have no one to do something nice for, do something nice for yourself. Make sure that you do it for yourself. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. Do something nice for yourself every single day. However, if that person happens to be you every single day that you're doing nice things for, there's a problem. You should find somebody to do something nice for. Give a compliment. Say something good to somebody. Do something that they don't expect. Call up a friend. Do whatever it may be. Just do something nice for somebody every single day, and that includes you. Just make sure that that person is you every single day. Venga is on out of here. Thank you so much, guys. It's been the No Cap show. I hope you have enjoyed No Cap with Venga. It's going to be something that we're going to add to the channel. We're going to start doing some other games. We're building a community here. I'll be open to questions. We'll do philosophies. We'll teach Hearthstone. We'll talk about Hearthstone. You guys will teach me how to play. Don't forget, we're going to be still playing some different things. We're going to be playing games. We are going to play Hearthstone, of course, because we love playing Hearthstone. We love chilling out and doing it. We love building decks and analyzing the game. That's what we do. We're building a community. I'd like to thank everybody that's been here watching. I am going to get on out of here. it has been a pleasure, honor, and privilege to stream for you, with you, and talk with you this evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I will see you soon. I promise. Make sure that you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. We'll see you guys.